What's crackin', my dudes? Welcome back to Storytime with your favorite Reddit fairy. My name is Lorna, and today we're getting into some r/ChoosingBeggars. But that's not all. I've also got one story that I'm gonna read afterwards that was posted in the r/Reddit fairy subreddit. I'm pretty sure it's an entitled parents, entitled bitch, or entitled kids story, so stay tuned for that. And without further ado, smash that subscribe button, sit back, relax, and let's get right into it. When your friend feels entitled to your sloppy seconds. Posted by user Crimson King 900. My friend X came into town but a week ago. He's doing grad school in a different state. X is a man whore with a very high body count, 60 plus women, and is constantly on the prowl for another conquest. I informed him that I'm going on a date with a girl, and he immediately became excited because, in his mind, he would be able to sleep with her after I did. I told X I'll consider asking my date for a double date with her sister down the road, but I made no promises. I did end up sleeping with my date, and I plan on seeing her again. My friend texted me the next day asking how the date went. Once I told him, he asked for her number. I said no because I only promised that I'd ask about the double date. He immediately threw a hissy fit, complaining that I was blowing him off by saying that I'll see what I can do, and complained that I need to get on it because he's only in town for a week. I told him that how long he's in town isn't my problem, and that it isn't my job to get him laid. He tried to guilt trip me by saying, "Brothers don't do this to each other." We aren't biologically related, but we've known each other a long time. I kept swatting away his emotional bullshit. He kept going on and on. I refused to budge and never gave him my date's number because she isn't some cheap commodity meant to be passed around. Is it just me, or is he an entitled, manipulative asshole? Yes, he is. That's gross. I guess that's a Chad. What people call a Chad. I would. Sorry to any Chads out there that are probably, good people. I know one Chad that's a good person. A really nice person. But yeah, that's gross. Why are people still like this? There's still seminars where people try to teach men how to pick up women, but they're the cringiest things you could ever witness. I've seen... Uh-oh, that's not good. My camera might fall any minute, so I'm gonna try not to bump the table, but yeah, my elastic band, my makeshift tripod just snapped. Oh my god. Okay, let's try to get through the rest of this. But before I do, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on all notifications for future videos just like this one. This next one is called... If I can pull it up. I lost it. Where did it go? Okay, here we go. When giving him what he wants isn't enough. Posted by user Dawn of Pagolia. Okay, something happened to me this morning and I just can't manage to let it go. So I want to unload it with you guys. This morning I did as I usually do. In between buses, I have about 15 to 20 minutes before the next bus takes me to work. I could choose a closer window, but this minutes in the morning is kinda scared to me. What that means. I buy a coffee, go to the sun deck in our city, look over the water and our medieval castle. The morning light is amazing and gives me a boost of serenity before the workday starts. So I'm standing there, enjoying my coffee and a smoke. A man, it's always a dude, approaches me and asks me for a cig. I say, sure, of course, and hand him a cigarette. He takes it, bends down, and picks up my coffee. I look at him, quite surprised, and said, "No, a cigarette. You can have a smoke, but not my coffee." I say sort of the same thing a couple of times before he replies, "Just one sip." "No," I reply. "But please, pretty please," he says in a childish voice. No. He looks at me and asks, "Are you sick?" No, but in this time and place, you can't be certain. I can carry something. You can carry something. But it's okay, he says. I get really annoyed and say firmly, no, this is enough. Now give me my coffee. Then he looks at me and says, well, call the police then. Opens the lid and takes a huge sip and puts it down with a bunch of insults while walking a couple of meters away and taking a seat on the bench. It takes all my power not to throw the stupid paper cup after him. I stand there a whole bunch of breaths. Then I see my bus rolling in and I see an opportunity. I see him watching me and my cup and I walk towards him. He lights up, thinking I decided just to give him the coffee when I don't want it anymore. I stop half a meter in front of him and demonstratively open the lid and pour the coffee in the trash can. Then I get on my bus, wishing I dared giving him the finger. But yeah, that's my story. I feel much better now. Thank you. So, one thing, while I was reading this, my brain was like, no, you can't let him get away with that. And as much as it's not a bad idea to just dump the coffee out in front of him and kind of make him feel like, oh, fuck, you know? What I would have done is wait for him to light his cigarette that I just gave him and then dump the coffee on the cigarette so it's completely freaking drenched and he can't smoke it. Maybe I'm petty, but isn't that what we all live for? Alright, my dudes, I've got one more r/ChoosingBeggars story for you today. Where did it go? I don't know why this keeps happening. Ooh, and giving him what he wants is just not enough? No, that's what I just read. What's the matter with me today? One cigarette, not enough. That's why I'm losing my mind. There's 2 stories about cigarettes today. Fucking hell. Okay. One cigarette, not enough. Posted by user Arcuous? Maybe? Your guess is as good as mine. A little backstory. I work at a hospital. There's an intersection close by that's inhabited by several beggars on a daily basis. They get treatment once in a while at the hospital, so we know most of them by name. I roll out of work in the afternoon, and there's a new tenant on the block. Young man I've never seen before. I've just lit a cigarette and have taken a couple of puffs before he approaches my window and an interesting little exchange happens. I'm translating from Spanish, but it goes something like this. Hey, mister! I'm in my scrubs. It's what we usually get called here. Spare some change? I hand him the change in my console, which I keep there for basically this purpose. Can I have a cig? Also not an uncommon request. Slightly annoying sometimes, but I'm in a good mood and say, sure, and hand him one. Now, I have my headphones in at the moment, listening to a podcast on my phone. So when he lingers at my window and speaks again, I don't quite catch what he says. I take the earbuds out and ask him to repeat himself. And a smoke? What? I just gave you one. Did you want to borrow my lighter or something? No, I mean a smoke. Give me the one you are having so I save the other one for later. Cue the Harry Potter and the audacity of this bitch title card. I stare at him in mute admiration for 2 seconds. The traffic light turns green and I roll on. Seen him a few other times afterwards, but the regulars at his spot seem to have driven him off. He should have just asked for that in the first place. Can I have a couple smokes? You know, they always come at you like they expectantly, like they expect you to have already given it to them and expected you to have read their mind and said, oh, you asked for a smoke, let me give you 2 just to be safe. No, we're not gonna do that. The smoke, like I said before, smokes are freaking expensive. The fucking, go get your own smoke. Stop smoking if you can't afford it. Easier said than done. I know, easier said than done. All right, my dudes, please don't come at me. All right, I've got one more story for you, my dudes. This one is the one that was posted in r/Reddit Fairy, and it is tagged r/entitled parent/kid/people/bitch. So, let's get into it. This one is called I Am the EK and had several meltdowns at Disneyland. Posted by user SCrusher88. I was looking at my plushie collection and was wondering why I had pairs of certain Disney characters when I was reminded and had a deja vu moment of what happened. This story. My mom and I were visiting the US for the first time, as my dad had visited the US a couple of times as he had some business with the Air Force, and I had a really bad plane journey, as I suffered from a phobia of sleeping on the plane. Another story for another time. So when we reached the US, I had been up for over 24 hours, and as we reached the hotel, I had collapsed for over 12 hours, and when we finally woke up, it was 8 o'clock at night. Awfully hungry. My mom luckily had packed for this occasion chicken soup. As we had free and easy type of tour, we shall skip the first day as we followed the normal tour. I remember most of all the ride we did, but there was a blank from 5:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. I remembered having queued for the Hollywood Tower ride, and next was a time skip of 1 hour having extreme joy to rebuy plushies. I had to get a recap of what happened during that time. My mom just told me, "You nearly died. Your father lost the plushie we brought. You had a meltdown, was convinced to rebuy toys, had another meltdown at the plushie store because there were no more Abus." I don't know what that is. Please tell me in the comments. Had to be convinced with attractions to leave. I wanted more details, but realized my mom was still angry with my dad. So I asked her recently what had happened. Mom told me in details this time. "You nearly fell out of the Hollywood Tower ride as there was someone had forgotten to tighten the seatbelt," implying me, "and as she had to hold me by my leg or I would have fallen much higher and in more pain. Your dad lost the toy bag on the Indiana Jones ride as no one was holding it, even though again, yes, again, my life was in danger. One of my legs was holding on to one of the bag's straps as it fell out from the ride, and the bag was tugging onto me, who was slowly sliding out of the ride. Mom just told me to release the toy bag, so I withdrew my leg, got my hands on the strap, and slowly gestured the strap off, which was difficult as the bag was nearly packed to the brim. After I had the realization of the toys being lost and had a meltdown just in front of the ride, had to be convinced that the toys will be rebought. We were given notice that they would try to acquire the toys if they could get them. They could, but it took them 2 days. At the plush shop, since Abus was no more, this time I was screaming my head off, running around, not caring if I got hurt as I bumped into shelves falling down. I just got back up, running at the same speed. I had to be convinced to sit in the splash zone at SeaWorld. Back then, I wasn't diagnosed with anything yet, although my parent had pampered me since I was an accident-prone kid, which had had many instances with hospital stays / operations. Oh boy. At least you acknowledge that you were acting like an EK. See, I have no problem with you. When you can admit it, that means you're healing, you're learning, and that's all that matters, as long as you recognize you're not like that anymore. But I mean, you're a kid. You lose all your toys, I'd be bound to be pretty upset too, I guess. But, I don't know. You were an EK in this story. I don't know about other times, but in this story, you're definitely an EK. But that's okay, like I said. You acknowledge it now. Alright, my dudes, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, don't forget to smash that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on all notifications for future videos just like this one. As always, the links to these stories will be in the description below. So head on over to Reddit and show those posters some love with some upvotes. You know they deserve it, my dudes. And yeah, that's it. That's all I got for you. I will see you in the next episode. Peace out.